Hi, I'm Juliana Furgala, and I'm going to share with you the story of Grace Hopper, a computing pioneer who has inspired many women to become computer scientists. First, though, I'd like to thank Lake City Arts for including me in the I Am Woman History Month art exhibit. The road to women's rights and roles has been an ever-evolving one, and the journey is still ongoing. Now, let's dive in. She's the woman with the Yale Residential School, a government ship, and a globally popular annual Women in Computing conference named after her, a diversity and inclusion conference that sees over 20,000 attendees a year. Her name is Grace Hopper. Every year, people in the world, the STEM community especially, recognize her contributions to the field of computer science. So just who was Grace Hopper? She wasn't always in the field of computer science. In fact, she received her education from Vassar and Yale, working her way up to a PhD, one of only a few women with a PhD in mathematics. At the same time, she balanced her education with her new job as a math professor at Vassar. She was already one of few, a female pioneer in the academic world. But the reason that so many people know about her, and her legacy now, is because she didn't stop there. With the rise of World War II, Grace felt spurred on to contribute. She enlisted in the Navy Reserves, a choice she made in part because of her great-grandfather's service in the branch. Though she was one of the oldest recruits at 37, barely making the cut because of recruiting restrictions, she persevered and put her all into her new role. In 1944, the Navy assigned her to the project that would become the basis for her legacy, working with one of the first computers in the world, and the first in the United States, Mark I, at Harvard. There was no question of her having computing experience. After all, computers were brand new, 51-foot machines that took up entire rooms. This machine, the Mark I, had the capabilities of a modern-day basic calculator. Grace had to learn this new undefined skill set on the job. The calculations that she worked on with the Mark I team were important in the ongoing war effort. During this time, she was chosen to write the whopping 561-page user manual for the Mark I computer. She was also there when the team discovered the source behind the first famous computer failure, a moth that became stuck in the large machine. This led to the term that programmers use today, bug, to describe unintended behavior of software. She attempted to continue this work after the war, first with the Navy and then with Harvard, but was ultimately prevented from doing so long-term because of her age and gender. But Grace Hopper knew what she wanted to do, and she continued onward in spite of these obstacles. She joined private industry as a senior mathematician and began work on UNIVAC 1, the first commercial computer. One of her most significant contributions was the development of a compiler called AO, adding a layer of abstraction so that programmers could write in still low-level mathematical code instead of the largely intelligible machine code. This was the first step towards supporting higher-level, more friendly programming languages. However, Grace took the idea even further, suggesting that they develop a system to program in traditional human languages, using words. The source behind the idea was an unexpected one. One day, Grace realized that the values in her checkbooks just didn't add up. On closer inspection, she and her brother discovered that she had switched between writing in hexadecimal, a common form of representing numbers in computer science, and decimal, what the rest of the world usually uses. This got her thinking. There had to be a better way to interface with computers, a more intuitive way. And so she proposed the development of an English language compiler. The reception she received for her idea was doubtful at best. Undeterred, she worked on the project anyways, showcasing Flowmatic in 1956, the first programming language that could take words as input versus mathematical symbols. Her idea was extendable to other word-based languages as well. Grace Hopper's goal was to make computers and the fledgling field of computer science more accessible to the broader world. In her own words, "What I was after in beginning English language programming was to bring another whole group of people in, to be able to use the computer easily. I kept calling for more user-friendly languages. Most of the stuff we get from academians, computer science people, is in no way adapted to people. This was even before the idea of computer-human interaction was a field of its own. She was certainly ahead of her time." She later went on to take a part in supporting the standardization of the first widespread programming language, COBOL, helping with design and development. The Navy asked her to take on a similar role for them almost a decade later. Even with all of these accomplishments behind her, Grace Hopper continued to work for the rest of her life. However, what she was most proud of was her role as a teacher, something she had continued to do all the while. If you ask me what accomplishment I'm most proud of, my answer would be all the young people I've trained over the years. That's more important than writing the first compiler. Grace Hopper is an inspiration to me and many others. Thank you for giving me the chance to share her story with you all today.